Okay, so now I want to just introduce a few vocabulary concepts. When I use these terms, I'm going to be meaning them in this particular way, and when you use these terms, you should use these terms in this particular way. Informally, sometimes people mix these up a little bit. Okay, a value. In programming languages, what is a value? And I'm not going to give super technical definitions. You can go look in the book and get really formal definitions that hold up more rigorously, but a value, it's the sort of thing you can pass to a function or get back from a function or put into a variable. Okay, so it's the fundamental piece of information that you can represent in your program. Okay, so values in object-oriented languages, objects are types of values, or objects are a particular object is a value. In Java, if you want to be technical about it, the values that are actually used are references to objects. So object reference is all your program actually ever has access to. All you can actually put into a variable is an object reference. You can never actually get the object itself. By using its reference, you can do everything you want to do, so it's okay. Compare that with C, where you have objects and object pointers, and those are both values. You can pass an entire object, and if you have an object with 20 fields and you pass it to a function, it will put all 20 fields on the runtime stack rather than one pointer to the object. You can also put the pointer to the object on the stack in C, but that's why we say both pointers to objects and objects are values in C, while in Java, only object references are values and not objects themselves. Okay. A variable. A variable is an identifier that is associated with a value. Okay, that value might change over time if it varies even. So, okay. Type. I mentioned this briefly before in class. A type. We'll go ahead and say a type is a set of values. So, short is actually a finite set. And it's pretty big. There's 64,000-ish things in there, but it's 65,000 different values, and that's the set, short. In fact, we'll go a bit further. Anytime we have a set, we'll say, hey, that set comprises a type. Okay, so I can make a new type that is the string hello, the string goodbye, and the number 37, and say that's a new type, that's a Barland. Yeah. And now, if I can, maybe I have a way to let my language know about this new type Barland that I've made up in my head. Maybe I just put it down in a comment, especially if I'm using a language that doesn't force me to declare types. Okay. And then I can say, hey, this function is going to return a Barland. You give it a string, it's going to return a Barland. Or this function needs to be given a Barland as input. It has to be exactly one of the elements of that set of 3 that I defined earlier. So, okay. Anyway, so a type is a set. Some sets are more interesting than others. What are some finite? Is a set finite or not is a pretty fundamental question. So short is finite. Int, finite. Goes in Java, an int is from -2 billion to +2 billion. In Racket, integer. Yeah, integer is actually an infinite set, like the mathematical version. Strings in Java. Infinite. Yeah, there are an infinite set of strings. You're right, some strings might require more memory than my particular computer has, but that's not a limitation on the language Java. That's a limitation on the machine that I'm trying to run Java on. So, okay. So hopefully these are all pretty straightforward. Value, variable, and type. Sometimes people confuse value and variable. I'll have an example in a moment. And then expression. So an expression, in this class, we're going to sort of focus on expression as something that occurs in a program in the language of a program source file. So it's a piece of syntax that can be evaluated to get some variable. So 3 plus 4 times 5 or square root of 16 might be simple expressions, and we'll do a lot of work with expressions. Okay. And then literal, actually I'm going to defer literal to the next video. I want to come back. Separately, I should say one thing that I have here related to expression is statement. And I don't mention this one in the slide. Statement, Java makes a big distinction between statements and expressions, and there's a lot of things that are each. 3 plus 4 times 5 is an expression in Java. N gets 3 plus 4 times 5 semicolon is an assignment statement. Okay, statements in Java often end in a semicolon, which is how you can tell what things are a statement and what things are an expression, maybe. Other things that are statements are a for loop, a while statement. You look in the book, go back to your Java 1 book, and it'll talk about, hey, a while statement, an assignment statement. And those things, when I run a while loop, what is the one result that I get back? What does it evaluate to? Well, it doesn't evaluate to, it doesn't give back an answer. You can't take X gets and then put a while loop on the right-hand side of the assignment statement. That's not allowed. Sorry, X gets, and then the while loop over here. You can't do that. Why? Because this is a while statement. It's not a while expression that returns an answer. Expressions evaluate to a value. So another way to think about it is expressions are things that go on the right-hand side of an assignment statement, or could go on the right-hand side of an assignment statement. Okay, in Racket, most things are expressions. There's a few things that are statements. Define. Anyway, okay. I just want to now mention one place that just gets my goat. People who should know better, confusing value with variable, and that's going to be PHP, my favorite whipping horse. In PHP, there is an expression. Let's go ahead and start an interactive window. Let's look at the documentation first. There's an expression, a statement, var dump. Okay, and var dump, you go ahead and give it. This part's okay. Var dump, give it an expression, and this function displays structured information about one or more expressions, including its type and value. This is a useful thing to have. I'm not complaining about the existence of var dump in itself. Let's go ahead and look and say var dump of the string hello, and it'll say, yes, a string of length 5 hello, and I can say var dump of 2 or 99, 2 or by. Okay, it's going to evaluate this expression, 2 or by, give me back an answer, and it's going to tell me about that answer. In particular, it's going to be a Boolean, it's going to be a number, what is it? It's a Boolean true. Okay, so for whatever reasons that is. Okay, so I like var dump. Here's the only thing I don't like about var dump is there's no var involved. I just called it twice and I didn't have a variable going on at all. Yes, I could have a variable. I can go ahead and say stuff gets hello and then var dump of stuff. Okay, sure. So I could have a variable going on, but I can call var dump without any variable at all. So with the name var dump, it should be val dump. This is a val dump. Oh my goodness. And even has a description here, but going down here, parameters, expression, the variable you want to dump. No, it's not a expression does not have to be a variable. It can be any expression. It's not yeah.